Hola y bienvenidos a Deuces Wild Bitches.
Well, hello there. A little post Thanksgiving. I hope you had a good one with the troops and ate a lot of stuff ahoy.
I did, man. I saw you out there at the ranch last Tuesday. We did the show and you had the whole family in
Yep.
town. How were the Thanksgiving festivities?
Everybody had a good time. The turkeys came out good. Did the stuffing and all of that, and the green bean casserole, the whole works. Everybody had a ball. So
So, Thrill, you were saying that Wes was on here in the chat and he was
yeah,
talking about your
yeah.
first car.
Yeah,
So,
right before you came on, Wes fired that question in there, and the chat room just blew up, dude. I mean, we got all kinds of vehicles people were firing around in there.
what's the one that catches your eye?
Well, I mean, we had some Kias in there and some other
A
crap.
Kia?
Uh, my first one, Josh Duro had a Capri in there, but my first vehicle was a '74 lime green Camaro with the biggest engine that Camaro made, and that son of a bitch would jump out of its skin. I mean, it goes 0 to 80 in nothing, and in old backwoods Mississippi back in the day, that big old lime green thing was hauling ass up and down them roads.
That does not shock me one bit. There's actually a guy, friend of the program, he's done shows on No Filter before. The account is the greatest show on dirt, I believe. And
Yeah.
he writes these things. And this would fit perfect into your whole mantra of who Will the Thrill is, where he's from, firing up the green Camaro, the fucking fact that it goes 0 to 80 like that. Oh, dude, that's so
Yeah,
good,
look,
man.
we got all kinds of stuff. Look, let's see. Let's see. Christian had a '64 Falcon. Rev had a '77 Volvo wagon. Josh had a '74 Mercury Capri. Ted had a '81 Chevy Citation. Dude, we got the gamut. If you walked into our chat room on like a used car lot, your head would be exploding right now.
So my first car was a 1989 Ford Bronco.
Oh, there's a good one. There's a good one. You were like tooling around back then.
Well, it was one of the first SUVs, and I had saved up 7,500 bucks. And look, I mowed a lot of lawns, and the blower. I was a master with the blower and the leaves, and I would do the neighbor's yard and up and down the street and old Honda with the blower and the leaves and everything. I worked at Molina's Deli for 375 an hour. I then worked at Chevron. After that, I think I got a pay raise. I probably making about 575 over at the Ron. And then when I turned 16, I had saved 7,500 bucks. I worked in the warehouse at Acoustalite where my dad was and drove a forklift. And so my dad said, "Hey, look, however much you can earn by the time you're 16, then I'll double that." So 7,500 bucks became 13 grand, and that's what the Ford Bronco 1989 cost me.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome. Those are the great stories right there. Um, Mine was, believe it or not, my uncle loved fast cars, and like I said, he had this Camaro. He's getting rid of it. I was a freshman in college, and I was away at Mississippi State, and Dad and Mom gave him a little moolah for it, and that was my first car. So after that, I was able to get on the Chevy Suburban train after that, and I'm still on this Chevy Suburban train. So
Really? So you've been driving a Suburban for all these years?
yeah, yeah. I mean, ever since I was playing, I drove a Suburban. I've had Josh knows I've had a few little wrecks that weren't my fault, and it was like, ooh, thank God I came out of that alive. And I'm like, well, I keep surrounding myself with more steel like that. I ain't gonna have a problem.
Yeah, man. All right, Thrill. You mentioned Mississippi State.
Yep.
Lane Kiffin out there in Oxford at Ole Miss uh, drug out this whole coaching thing. He had an offer to go coach at Florida, had an offer to go coach at LSU. Obviously, Ole Miss was trying to keep him. They've had a fantastic year, and he's had a really nice 6-year run in Oxford. But he decides to pack his shit up and leave. He wanted to coach his team through the college football playoff. Ole Miss says, fuck off, get out. And he is now out. So, your thoughts as Lane Kiffin comes your way. You
Yeah.
live very close and are very connected to Louisiana State, Thrill.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just crazy where the college game's gone, especially you and I talked about it. Everybody in the chat room knows about NIL and all that. I mean, they owe Kelly 50 million for his buyout. The guy before that, Ogeron, they owe him 27 million. Now you go out, you get Kiffin for 90 something million. It's like, where's all this money coming from? That kind of thing. It's like, hey. And then on top of that, you and I talked about it right before we came on the show. Look, I mean, it's like the NIL. It's no loyalty. It's whoever gives me the cash, that's where I'm going. And Ole Miss had a good thing going in Ole Miss, and brought the program out of the dust, into the limelight, and then just bailed. And so, one of them things. I'm not a fan of people that just bail like that. I'm more of a fan of the guys that are loyal and ride out the storm.
Well, he's come and gone in so many different places,
Yeah,
and he
Tennessee,
typically
USC, you know.
doesn't necessarily always leave them better than he found them, so to speak.
Yeah, and there's been
I don't
some,
know, man.
and then there's
I
been
don't
some.
like judging anyone until I met him.
No,
But
I get it, And then there's been some sketchy stuff that's gone on in the past. It's like, whoa, wait a second.
yeah. All right, dude. Let's get to some of the Giants offseason notes.
All right,
You and I were discussing earlier something that came up. We were talking about outfield defense,
yeah.
and it's come to our attention that the Giants, by certain metrics, officially had the worst outfield defense of any team in baseball. Holy shit, man. That's a problem.
I didn't think it was that way. I mean, because we had some moments out there that were like pretty cool, where like Gilbert would go diving for craziness and all that. And but when you look at the metrics, and I don't know all of these freaking stupid ass metrics, like outs above average and shit like that. But whatever the metrics were, we were like dead last in Major League Baseball. And, we're definitely going to address the pitching situation. Matter of fact, they've already done that. We'll talk about that here in a second. But you need good defense. And, those championship teams back in the 10, 12s, and 14s, that's what they did, man. They picked it. You had a pitching staff that threw strikes, and they picked the hell out of it. And to be last in the major leagues in a defensive category, that's not going to cut it on the major league level.
It's funny you mentioned the 10, 12, 14. And I think back to those years and I think about the outfield play. One of the first people that come to mind is like Gregor Blanco,
Yeah.
running shit down all over the outfield, playing all three outfield positions. And then Hunter Pence crashing up against the fence, making a sick play. I was at one of the playoff games where he did that. It's a really, really hard outfield to play. I would actually venture to tell you that right field by far and away is the most difficult right field in all of baseball to play. And then center field's tricky too because you have such a big right center field gap. Left field's pretty standard. But overall, Thrill, it's not an easy place to play outfield. What can the Giants do to get better defensively at that position this offseason and in spring training?
Well, I mean, you have to, especially in San Francisco because of the wind blowing, you have to take balls out on the field, whether it be batting practice, whether it be some extra work and stuff like that. And then you got those nuances. I mean, you got the triples alley, you got the fake facade that's the Levi's sign out there. You got to take balls off the wall and see which way they ricochet and whether they hit bricks, whether they don't hit bricks. If they hit fence, they're going to die. If they hit bricks, they're going to shoot off of it. And so, if you're an outfielder in San Francisco, you got to work on all of that. And so that's probably going to be a big point in spring training for Tony Vitello and Buster Posey.
Well, more than anything, I think they should use that outfield to their advantage. It's really difficult as a visiting player to go in there and try to know where the ball is going to bounce, if it hits off the bricks, if it hits off the fence, if it hits in that corner. And I told you this, Real. One of the things that I would do when I went to a new ballpark, or even if I had played in the ballpark before, but I went into a visiting ballpark, the first thing I did was go out to all three outfield positions and just throw the ball. For example, Dodger Stadium, played there for the first time when I was with the Diamondbacks, and I threw a ball down the left field line, and this thing sucked into that corner and goes like this. All the way out towards center field. I'm like, holy shit, man. So I knew immediately anything hit down the line, don't try to cut it off and play hero. You need to go on the other side, basically on the left field wall, to go ahead and retrieve that ball. Fenway Park was very similar to that. Then I go to center, and I do the same thing. Say Fenway Park, I just mentioned it, but I throw the ball off the green monster. I throw the ball into the triangle, and I see how it ricochets. It takes 5 fucking minutes, man. If you're a big league outfielder and you're not doing this, there's something wrong, man. Like you're not paying attention to the goddamn fucking details that win baseball games.
Well, and then you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, you're going to play 81 games in your home ballpark. You better know your home ballpark. You better know it like the back of your hand. Because as you well said, when you go on the road, there's other nuances in these other ballparks. So the when you're out there in the outfield in San Francisco, you got to know if the ball is going to carry with the wind, if the ball is going to be held up with the wind. When it hits the bricks, which way is it going to shoot? That kind of thing. And so, they'll stress defense pretty hard in spring training, I'm pretty sure.
So Thrill, I drove by the Candlestick Park exit the other day,
Oh,
and I couldn't help but think of all the amazing times that I had there. One of them being sitting in section 62 when you hit the base hit up the middle against Mitch Williams. You obviously played hundreds of games in that ballpark. What was it like from a player's perspective playing at the stick?
you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Roger Craig and Al Rosen came in spring training in 1986, and they said, we are going to use that ballpark to our advantage. Nobody wants to come in there and play there. And so because they don't want to come in and play, we're going to use it to our advantage. And we not only had a lot of, 81 home games, but we played mostly night games to where it was going to be miserable them first few years. And, I don't care what you said, man. There was people that did not want to play. There were certain players, I can name them, but I'm not going to, that would wind up sitting out 2 out of the 3 games because they're like, I'm not going to get out there and freeze my ass off. And so that's a big demoralizer for the other team. But for me personally, I love the challenge. That's like you. When you played in Oakland, you had so much foul ground plus the outfield that you had to cover. I know you relish the fact that, hey, I'm going to get on my horse and I'm going to make a hell of a catch. And it was the same thing, playing at the stick. It's like, man, when you got miserable, it's like, all right, who are the men here? Who's going to step up? All right, who's gonna jump in the saddle with me, and who's gonna get their ass train run over? So,
Dude, I loved playing in Oakland. I
Oh, hell
loved
yeah.
the fact that visiting players hated going there. I love the fact that we had 12,000 of the gnarliest, most diehard fucking fans you could possibly have. I loved when I got to run into foul territory and fucking launch my body into the air, where in any other ballpark it's 10, 15 rows deep. I loved everything about that goddamn fucking toilet bowl, man. It's
Yeah.
a big concrete toilet bowl. I get it. But it was our toilet bowl, and it was
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Hey, look, I can tell you one thing right now. And it depended on who we were pitching and stuff like that. But Robbie Thompson and I would, oh God, we'd get our sprints in a 9 inning game because you had all of those like marginal foul balls. You had to run over there because you never
Yeah.
knew if they were going to blow back onto the field or if they were going to stay in the stands. So you had a hundred. 120-foot run like all the time. It's like you get back to first base and you're going, and that's when I was in shape.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fun stuff, man. But that's part of your home ballpark. Goes back to what we were talking about. You got to know your home ballpark. And while we're talking about this, Trey came up with this. I gotta show you this. He comes up with it, and it's the home team dugouts, whether it be first base or third base. And
Interesting. I've always thought about this.
yeah, I was like, that's pretty cool, Trey. And the breakdown is right now. The breakdown is there's 18 first base dugouts, and there are 12 third base dugouts. I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, Candlestick was first base, Texas was first base, Baltimore was first base, and St. Louis was first base. I never played in a ballpark where the home team was on the third baseline. We were always on the first baseline.
So Oakland was third base,
Third base.
Colorado was first base, Baltimore was first base, Arizona was third base, and then Seattle was first base.
So you had a pretty good little split right there. That's not bad.
Yeah. Did you prefer a first or third? Because I know I did.
It didn't matter. I mean, because when you go on the road, I mean, you got to run across the diamond, or when you're at home, you just got to run over there. So yeah, it wasn't no big deal.
So the reason why I liked the third base dugout is because I was on the right side and I could time up the pitcher in the on deck circle.
Nice,
Right? Without
nice.
having to do it the opposite way. It was always a little awkward. Now for a lefty, that would be the first base
First
dugout.
base
So
dugout. Yep,
you had the honor to
yep,
do that through your whole career from the left side.
yeah. No, it was you on deck, and once you got loose, you kind of stand there and you go, yeah, boom, that's the timing. Yeah, that's the timing. Before you even got up there.
Yep. All right. So let's stay with our theme of the Gigantes right now.
All right.
And the
All right, we talked
Giants.
about it. We talked about it a minute ago. We talked about pitching, and they have Sam Hankins, a lefty from the Cleveland Indians, not Guardians, Indians. They've been the Indians for 125 years. So anyway, Sam Hankins is now in San Francisco. Joey Lucchesi, who was another left-hander that we had at the end of the year, got DFA'd, taken off the roster, and Hankins got put on. And then there's another lefty. He looked like he was a minor leaguer, and his name is Revere something or another. Reaver San Martin. He's another lefty. He was I don't know where we got him from. I think maybe Cincinnati, but he didn't have too many innings thrown.
Okay, some other news coming out of San Francisco. Casey Schmidt, who is projected to be the Giants' starting second baseman this upcoming season, just had wrist surgery on his left wrist. Interesting. The 26-year-old landed on the 10-day injured list with left wrist inflammation after he was drilled by a 95-mile-per-hour sinker from the Marlins' Calvin Foucher on June 25th, which made it difficult to swing without pain. Schmidt batted 276 with a 799 OPS and 4 homers over his first 34 games of the year, but his production dipped after his return from the IL. He hit 220 with a 663 OPS and 8 homers over his final 61 games. Your thoughts on Casey Schmidt and his wrist surgery?
Well, I don't know exactly the story behind it, but why wait till December to have surgery when you can have surgery after the season and be ready to go for spring training? Which is kind of what Bryce Eldridge did, believe it or not. He had left for his surgery and he's going to be fully healed up for spring training. Now, Casey has got to kind of bust his ass to be ready. You know, why didn't you do this earlier? I mean, if it's bothering you that bad, do it right after the season. I know when I broke my elbow my rookie year, I legitimately had surgery the day after the season was over. And because I needed the whole offseason to rehab, come in spring training ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you play through that elbow? How'd that work?
I had I was on a I was on the disabled list for a month and a half, almost 2 months, and then when I came back, I legitimately couldn't throw the ball from here to this microphone. But I could swing, and then what I'd do is I'd let go of the bat once I got through the zone. And after the season, yep, I got chopped on, and let's see this right here, that big bump that you see right there.
Oh,
That
fuck. What is
that's
that?
that's part of the radial head that's not supposed to be there. So anyway, so that kind of had to play through that for a few years, but it was all right.
It doesn't affect you shooting anything, does it?
Oh no, not at all, not at all. We had a good Thanksgiving. It was a little slow at first. I was telling the guys in the room, Ryan especially, that it was a little slow early, and then we picked up the pace a little bit when it got cold, and then now I'm just sitting here at the house enjoying the nice cool weather.
I thought Josh killed a bobcat. Is that what he was holding?
Josh killed the bobcat and he killed the doe. He was all fired up. He was all fired up. Big Mike killed 2 deer, and Jared killed the hog, and so all of the guests had a good time and were able to pull the trigger a little bit.
Now, did you guys eat or cook any of this stuff?
Yeah, we cooked a lot of it. We had backstrap one of the first nights, and then we had backstrap after Thanksgiving too. So we cooked a little bit of it, and then other than that, we have a menu, and the menu was unbelievable this year. We had alligator and all kinds of other duck
The
and
fuck
all
you
kinds of
talking about? You what, an
fish.
alligator? You
Huh?
ate you ate an alligator?
We ate alligator meat. Yeah, it's absolutely
Really?
delicious. It's absolutely delicious. It is. I swear to God. I swear to God. You know, people say, "Oh, it tastes like chicken." This freaking tastes like chicken. However you cook chicken, you can cook alligator, and it was the bomb. I know JT knows. He was all up in there. He's sitting next to me. He was all up in the alligator Creole.
Alligator Creole. I mean, Creole's like a stew, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a red gravy, and you just kind of stew it down, and man, it was falling apart tender. It was awesome.
I got to get out there one time. I'm waiting for you to put in a pickleball court, though.
Oh my God! Hey, look, I got concrete. We can just draw it in. Can't be. It can't be more than about what 4x4, 5x5.
It's 44 feet, 44 feet long.
44.
Yeah, 20,
Damn. All
22
right.
on each side.
All right. All
I think
right.
it's about 20 feet wide.
Okay.
We got this, man.
We
We
do.
really do.
Well,
All right, so
I'll have to go build a pad out there, and you
yeah,
can
yeah,
go
yeah,
from
yeah.
there.
Let's do this right. Hey, so for the off season, like I typically would actually wait until after Thanksgiving to do anything baseball related. Now, these are years I didn't go to the Dominican, which there's one year, a couple years I went to the Dominican real early,
Yeah.
and then basically after Thanksgiving, I would crank it up. Even when I went to the Dominican, I would get ready to go to the Dominican in January to go play in their quote unquote round robin. that they would have. What was your off-season protocol when it came to get ready for the season?
I because we played every day, and at the end of the season, you're gassed, dude. I mean, you've
Yeah.
probably dropped 15, maybe 20 pounds, and you're just physically and mentally beat up. And especially we just talked about it a little bit ago, playing a Candlestick, dude. You got to go through that every night. I mean, you get beat up pretty good, and so I'd come home and I'd take complete time off until January 1. Once January 1 hit, I switched focus. I went back to lifting and then hitting at night. And I had, I don't know, 3 or 4 different batting practice pitchers. And so I had somebody with a live arm every night. And then what I did was, if I wanted to simulate better stuff, I just move up. And so, in the meantime, your first few, week or so, you're getting your hands back in gear. You get those calluses. They're going to bleed for a little bit, and then after that, you get the calluses on there, and you're good to go. Once that happened, I started working on a little bit more velocity, a little bit more velocity, a little bit, and so I'd get closer to the guy and tell him, "Look, you just throw the way you've been throwing. Don't try to throw any harder. I'm going to cut the distance down, and that's going to increase the velocity."
You told me before that one off season, Matt Williams came out to Louisiana and spent a decent portion of the offseason with you getting ready for that next season. Regale us with that experience and how that was.
Oh yeah, I mean, he and I, the Giants wanted him to come out, and we had a fitness guru back then, Mackie Shilstone, who lived in New Orleans, and they wanted Matt to work out with Mackie, and at the same time, do some hitting. And I told Matt, I said, dude, you can come live with me. I got a condo, and come live with me for a few weeks. And he did. And we worked out in the day and then hit at night, and bounce some stuff off of one another. And that was the year Matt kind of stuck in the big leagues and did real well. So, oh, I forgot. Josh put it on there too. We had some tuna, like tuna steaks, and those came out good too.
Didn't something happen with Matt Williams in a bar?
The last night we were there. Decided after we got through hitting, we're all sweaty and all that sort of shit, and we went to one of my favorite watering holes, and we're sitting there at the bar, and we're just bullshitting and talking back and forth, and telling baseball kind of shit. And there's an older gentleman that's sitting next to Matt on the other side. I'm on this side, he's on the other side, and you just knew that he was just listening to the conversation. And he said something like, "Are you Matt Williams?" And Matt said, "Yeah." He goes, "You had a terrible year," or he said something like that. I don't know. And Matt turns around, didn't even miss a beat. Pow! And I mean, drops his, I mean, out cold, right? And I look at the bartender. Bartender looked at me. He goes, "Well, Will, you and Matt got to get out of here." I said, "Yes, we do. We're gone." So that was Matt's last day in New Orleans.
So fucking good, man.
Oh man, he was. I love Matt. I love him so much, and they call him the Big Marine for a reason. And his two older brothers were like Hell's Angels, and so he grew up fighting. So it wasn't nothing for him to fight. And yeah, that guy was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, the guy talked fucking shit when he shouldn't have. He should have kept his mouth
Exactly.
shut.
It's like, hey, how about this? How about, hey, Matt, how you doing? My name's Bob. And I hate to say it, but I was listening to your stories. That's awesome. Congratulations. It's something like that instead of being a prick. Pow. See ya.
Even if he did have a shit year, it doesn't matter. That's just like,
Doesn't matter.
right?
Hey, look.
Like
Hey, look.
why would you bring something like that up?
You and I talk about it all the time. I mean, you know, unless you've kind of lived that life, you really don't know how good a pro is. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't. I mean, let's in we could say it in the baseball sense, but let's look at like football, a cornerback. All right. What if you're different because you're a freaking beast? But if I tried to go out there and catch a pass, man, that dude would have me blanketed the whole time. I wouldn't be able to move, that kind of thing. And same thing in basketball, same thing in golf. Look at these dudes in golf. Jesus. So when I see a pro doing what he does, I have a mutual admiration society.
Yeah. Well, you know that they've dedicated their entire life to it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's what they do, and everything that they do is to become better at their craft. And there's something that's very commendable,
Yeah.
with that, right?
Yeah. 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 And then you start, in different sports have different numbers, but you start looking around and, in the sport that we were in, since the beginning of time, since the beginning of the sport, there's only been 23,000 of us that played on the major league side of
It's
things.
crazy.
Is that, I mean, you think about that. I mean, that's not
Ever.
even a third of, some of these stadiums. And that's how many people played in the major leagues since the 1800s,
Ever.
ever.
Yeah. It's pretty special. I actually just opened a package, and it's been sitting here for a while, but it's from the Major League Baseball Players Alumni Association. And it was just like a new card and all this stuff, and it was cool. And when I got that and I just opened it, this is like a little sticker. And it says Major League Baseball Alumni Association. I'm like, this is pretty fucking cool, man. To
Yeah.
be able to associate yourself with, the 22, 23,000 people that have ever played this game. More than anything, Thrill, I think it's just a testament to what it takes to get there. I mean, I know you and I have talked extensively about the various avenues and whatever, and just getting to the big leagues and playing in the big leagues. The really fucking hard thing is actually staying in the big leagues. Getting to the big leagues is one thing, to, but to be able to stay in the big leagues and get
Yeah.
through the arbitration process and get past that, that's when it becomes really difficult because there's incentive by all of baseball to basically chew you up and spit you out before fucking year three, before you start making the big dollars. So they've done a couple things to kind of counteract that a little bit. But that's why for years it screwed the middle guy.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. You know, Unbelievable, ain't it? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, man. I love knowing that, because I'm still in the sport and trying to pass the game along. But then, you know, you think of the guys that gave the game to you, you Willie Mays and you Willie McCoveys and Gaylord Perry's and Juan Marichal when I was with the Giants. Then I go to the Cardinals and there's Red Shandies, Bob Gibson, Lou Brock, Stan Musial. It's Mike Shannon. It's like, Jesus, how much, information can you get from these people if you just go ask? And don't think you know everything. Just go ask, and they will give you the shirt off their back and tell you how to do things.
I tell my kids all the time it's impossible to learn what you think you already know. And when you have these resources and these people around, people with more experience than you, you have 2 ears and one mouth for a
Yeah,
reason.
yeah,
Fucking listen.
yep.
Just listen. You can learn a lot by listening.
And then here's another thing too. I mean, just as good as I know that a lot of it's trial and error. Hey, look, I'm scuffling. Let's just say I'm pulling a 1 for 20 and I haven't even hit the ball on the screws. It's like, all right, I got to make an adjustment. I got to do something different. This is not working. And there are so many people that won't do that now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they just are set in their ways and they do the same thing over and over and over. And I'm like, dude, you have a hole this freaking big on your inside corner. I said, you have got to work on getting that hole a little smaller. Otherwise, you're going to be an out. I mean, an out. And they look at you like, I don't have a hole up in there. I said, why do you think the fucking Dodgers throw you 6 fastballs in the same spot? Huh? They're seeing something that you ain't seeing, dumbass.
Yeah, that's it. And holes are they're created by fucking
Yep.
this. It's so bad, man. It really is. And it's like if they catch it perfect, they catch it perfect. But I've heard a couple different terminologies when it comes to hitting these days. And like I just said, I have 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. So I do like to listen and see where the evolution of teaching hitting actually is going. And one of my favorite things, and I'm using it a lot with my own kid now, is barrel presentation, where if I'm here and all of a sudden I get here, I want to present my barrel early and then leave it in the zone as long as I can. Where I showed him a video where I perceived him to do it wrong, where he was really quick in and out of the zone, where he had another one where he was fucking launching balls and he went and got in a little groove to right center field, and it was just like, boom. It was incredible to watch. Barrel presentation. The bat stays in the zone for a long period of time, allowing him to get a hit to right field, right center, center field, left center, and then catch it out here to go to left.
That's the new terminology, but I like what you said about the right center kind of thing. Anybody that grew up playing this sport can grab a baseball bat, get the head out, and pull something. That's what we did since we were a kid. Is like whammo, I'm gonna pull the ball. Whammo, I'm gonna pull the ball. The art is hitting the ball the other way and figuring out how to stay through the zone, as you said, and barrel presentation and staying long through the zone on the same plane as the baseball and driving the ball the other way. When a guy in in the game now, when they pull a ball and they hit it 450 feet, everybody's going, ooh, one of those numbers. I'm like, fuck, that was easy. It was a
Yeah.
mistake. It was a mistake. It's right in the wheelhouse. That's what we've been doing since we kids. Now, if somebody throws a slider away and the guy stays on it and drives some shit off the wall the other day, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's what I'm talking about. That's a piece of hitting right there. Anybody can pull a freaking mistake. Anybody. I can go get a kid down the street and do that now.
Yeah.
But to hit the ball the other way, like you talking about when Biscuit got on a roll and all that, that is a skill. That's a taught skill.
Yeah, because you have to have the patience. And then you also have to be able to be short to it, right? And then long through it. So it's
Yep.
short to the zone, and then we'll keep that bat for a long time going actually through that zone. It
Right.
just gives you the best chance for success.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean,
trust me, man,
we
like
talk
I
about it.
had at times I was really quick in and really quick out, and it fucking cost me. So I
Yeah.
learned
No.
through a lot of failure.
Yeah. No. And especially, whether it be you right on right or me left on left, if you don't stay through the ball, if you get in there and you cut it off, those are the ones where you hit those piece of shit grounders and you run down to first base and your hands are stinging because you hit the ball off the end of the bat and you're like, Jesus Christ, why couldn't I just stay through that damn thing? And then when you stay through it and you do it right, it's like, oh, wait a second. That was it right there.
So all these stats always keep coming out. I feel like I'm getting fed them for whatever reason. I'm sure I've liked every Tony Gwynn post I've ever seen. So Tony Gwynn was notorious, obviously, for seeing the ball deep and shooting the ball the other way and taking his base hits. And then he had that one year where he hit 17 homers and cut it loose a little bit, probably sacrificed a little bit of average. Do you think Tony Gwynn could have been a perennial 30 home run guy if he wanted to be?
Yes. He could have been a 30 home run guy. Wade Boggs could have been a 30 home run guy. You and I talked about it before. Ichiro could have been a 30 home run guy. But if you want to be a complete hitter, you have to sacrifice here and there. And that's where the game's changed. So, Boggs has a green monster in Boston. So he's staying through the ball and he's just trying to hit bullets off that wall. If he felt like pulling the ball, dude, he could tank some stuff. And Wade wasn't a small guy; he's a big dude. And Tony, with his bat control, you said he hit 17. I don't know exactly the stats and all that, but I guarantee you, if he said, "Hey, I'm gonna hunt homers and I'm gonna move around the batter's box so I can get them, on the pull side," I guarantee you he'd hit 30. And then you tell me about Ichiro's batting practice sometimes, so it's in the tank for him too. So yeah, I mean, these guys, and it was the same thing with us. I mean, hey, look, you know, I'm at the stick, all right? And there are some nights you can't hit a cannon out of left field. Where do you think you're going to get pitched? I'm going to get pitched away. So I mean, you're not going to be able to hit a home run because the wind's blowing 40 miles an hour in from left, unless I get out there and I hook it or something like that. But in the meantime, just got to take my base hits and go with it.
Mm. What was your batting practice routine?
Batting practice routine. First round was always the other way. Second round was up the middle. And then third and subsequent rounds were wherever it's pitched, I'm going that way. So if it was away, boom, I'd go that way. If it was in, I'd pull it. If it was out over the plate, I'd try to hit it up the middle.
Did you hit a lot of home runs in batting practice?
Not really. Not really. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but I was working on certain things. I wasn't concerned with the ball getting out the ballpark because I knew I could do it in the game. It was just I wanted to get that bat path going. I wanted to get that contact. I wanted to get that timing. And as soon as I got that on the ball away, ball middle, ball in, then I'm kind of getting ready for the game.
So when I was in Arizona in 2006, I was in a batting practice group with Luis Gonzalez, Tony Clark, and Sean Green. And Sean, when he was in Toronto, used to play this game with Carlos Delgado, where they would get 3 points for an opposite field home run, 2 points for a home run to center, and 1 point for a pulled home run. But it couldn't be down the line. It had to be from, like, say, the 375 sign over.
So in the gap,
And
in the gap.
so I played this game with these guys every single day for the first month of the season. And I wasn't playing a ton. And then towards the end of the first month, I got an opportunity to start playing every day. I had one home run at the end of April. And I swear to you, because of this batting practice routine that we did every single day, I ended up with 26 homers, and it fucking changed my career. And I mean, you can say changed my life, but it had a huge impact, certainly, on what I was able to accomplish on a baseball field.
I totally agree with. I totally agree. I mean, I mean, we talk about it, and you guys have heard about it. I'm the first one that's going to admit it. 75 to 80% of the balls that you're going to see on a major league baseball field, and all the way down, college, everything, are going to be away from you. They are going to try to make you beat them to the big part of the ballpark first off, and then they're going to try to change speeds on you to where when you get out their way, you roll over and stuff like that. Bless you.
Thank
So
you.
because of that reason, that's what I worked on,
Yeah.
and like I told you, I mean, I could put till this day, I can blindfolded just pull a ball, no problem, just pull my hands in and whammo one of them numbers. But that's not the skill in the game. The skill in the game is hitting the ball the other way and up the middle.
Yeah, so the one thing I didn't do was hit the ball the other way with immense power. And so doing that drill on a daily basis, uh, doing that drill on a daily basis basically taught me how to drive the ball to the opposite field.
Yeah.
And once I did that, it was over. I could always pull a ball. But once I had that power to right center, once I had that power to center field, it fucking changed everything.
Yeah, and you start taking, like for you especially, you take those right on right breaking balls and you stay on them, you stay through them, you drive them that way, and the first thing the pitcher goes, he goes, "Oh shit! Now how do I get him out? Oh God, I got to change my game plan around here. If he's going to do that, I'm gonna have to do something different."
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, we talked about Ichiro, and
Yep.
what he could do with a bat. He was an absolute fucking magician.
Yeah.
He really was. His first round, I swear to you, there was one time he would like foul a ball off the cage, like on purpose, like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then his next round was like line drives, ground balls, to shortstop. And then after that, it was, whew, this
I tell you
motherfucker
what.
let it eat, dude. It was
I
so fun to watch.
I tell you what. And this is where the games change. But I mean, I knowing what I know now and having the skill that I have, I would love to play in today's game and have these morons make those freaking infield shifts on you. Like like take the second baseman, or from in my case, it would be the shortstop, play him up the middle.
Play him up the middle. You see it all the time. You see
I
it
would
all the
love it.
time.
I would love it. I'm gonna sit there and go, you're gonna play me like two steps behind the bag at second base. I can hit a ground ball to shortstop all day long. I'll have 4 hits tonight, but now people try to beat the shift and all that instead of, hey, look, this is a skill. Practice the skill.
So that's very interesting because the truth of the matter is that for almost every single hitter, right-handed and left-handed, a right-hander's up, that second baseman's playing over the second base bag.
Yep.
A left-hander's up, the shortstop's playing over the second base bag. If this is the case, why would we not really focus on driving a ball through the shortstop position or the second base position? Wouldn't that make sense?
Yep. It would make sense. And on top of that, if you are a right-handed hitter, okay, and I know this from being a first baseman, there's only a certain distance I can get off of the line in order to be able to retreat and do my job to get you out. So if there's only a certain distance that I can go off the line, and then the second baseman's playing 2 steps behind the bag, dude, there's a hole over there you can drive 45 Mack trucks through. All right.
Yeah.
Like you said, just work on that shit, dude. Work on it. And guess what? Your batting average goes up, your production goes up, your RBIs goes up, everything goes up when you're able to do your skill with the baseball bat.
It started at the end of my career where I can remember hitting a couple fucking bullets up the middle, and the second baseman was standing right there, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yep.
And I didn't stick around long enough to make the adjustment. But one of the first things I thought was, okay, all right, motherfucker, you want to do that? Well, now I'm going to go over here. I'll just wait a little bit longer because we were ingrained to hit the ball up the middle, up the middle, up the middle. Well, now it's like, you know what? I'll just go the opposite side just a little bit more, and
Yep.
then you guys are fucked.
Yep. Exactly correct. In our day too, we did a lot of hitting and running, and so I actually enjoyed that because now here comes the pitch, there goes the runner, and you got infielders that are moving. It's like, all right, well, he vacated the hole. There's a base hit over that way. He vacated the hole over
Mm-hmm.
there. There's a base hit that way. And it was kind of real easy to see. And I told Roger Craig, I said, you want to put a hit and run on, put it whenever you want with me. I'll be aggressive up there. I can hit a ground ball that way or hit a ground ball that way.
Really?
Yep. Yep. I did it in St. Louis. We were actually playing the Marlins, and I told you this story before. That dude that had six fingers, that Antonio Alfonseca.
Yeah,
You know,
Fonseca.
I had
Yeah.
never faced him before. He's the closer for the Marlins, and we're in a tie ball game in the ninth. And I went up to LaRussa. I said, "Hey, just letting you know that I'm going to go tell Jimmy, talking about Jimmy Edmonds, I'm going to tell him to get on, and then first pitch, we're going to hit and run." And LaRussa looked at me and goes, "Okay." I said, "All right." And so I went up to Edmonds. I go, "Dude, listen, whatever you do," I said, "get on first base." And he goes, "Why?" I said, "Because we're going to hit and run first pitch." I said, "This dude has decent control. He's going to be around the dish. I'm going to be able to put the ball in play, move you around." He's like, "Done." And so he gets up there. Sure enough, he battles his ass off. He winds up walking, right? I'm up there, and I said, "All right." I said, "I got to get this ball into the outfield." And so I actually moved up on the plate because he threw a sinker. And so
Yeah.
I moved up on the plate. Jimmy takes off. And sure enough, here comes the sinker. In the center field, they had moved around. He was on the left center field side. And I hooked it into right center. And that Marlin place, I mean, had so much ground out there. I actually got a goddamn triple out the deal. Jimmy scored. Next guy hits a sac fly. I score. We win the game. You know?
That's so cool, man. Yeah, I don't love the hit and run because I just don't trust the hitters very much these days. There's a lot of swing and miss and stuff. I do really like the run and hit, where when the base stealer is running to steal the base, it means he got a pretty good jump. I tell the hitter every time, I don't want you taken. I really don't, unless it's so egregious where that guy's going to be 1,000% safe. And say, for example, it's second to third, and he's still in third with less than 2 outs. Okay, there's the situation to take. But for the most part, this guy's in motion. I want you driving the ball into a gap. I want that guy running, and I want him coming around and scoring.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's the fight for 90 feet is great, but if you could get not only 90 feet, but another 90 feet and another 90 feet after that, and then the hitter gets 90 feet and another 90 feet, if we're doing a math equation, it's a lot more advantageous.
Yeah, no, and I get exactly what you're saying, and it's hard, believe it or not, in today's game is trying to figure out who could put the ball play. I
Yeah.
mean, we worked on this shit, and we worked on it till it was almost a penalty because one of our first rounds, you had to drop a bunt down to third, you had to drop a bunt down to first. Next pitch is a hit and run, and you have to hit it on the ground. You don't hit it on the ground, you got to have another hit and run. You got to hit it on the ground, another hit and run. All right, it was like a penalty, and
Mhm.
and so we had guys that could control the bat and put the ball on the ground in certain spots, and so we did it a lot. I mean, we hit and ran a lot. Roger Craig, that was one of his favorite tools he used to love to do.
Yeah. I'm down with that. I don't love the force to hit the ball in the ground either. Like if you have a pitcher drive, hit that motherfucker in the gap.
Well, and then, but I would do it. I would do it to instead of have one run in an inning, have a big inning. So, like, here's one for you. Cal Ripken always wanted to cover second base bag. So if somebody ran at first base, Cal Ripken was the guy who was going to be at second base. Well, that left shortstop wide ass open. So I would actually go tell, you know, my manager, "Hey, put the hit and run on, and as soon as I see Cal break, I'm hitting the ball that way."
Hmm.
And I had shit. I don't know. I mean, I had probably 4 or 5 different, hit and run base hits past Cal Ripken because he was going towards second.
That's interesting that you knew that. Now, typically, if against a left-handed hitter, they would send the shortstop. Against a right-handed hitter,
Yeah,
they would send the second baseman. Right? You assume that they're
yeah,
going to pull the baseball at least at the big league level. A lot of times at the youth level, I would do the opposite, especially when the fields were smaller. I would have the pull side cover
I
because
get
so
you.
many balls went the other direction.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I get what you're saying.
All right, man. Well, any final thoughts? Like, girls just got home from their horseback riding, and I got dinner downstairs in less than 5 minutes. Anything you want to get off your chest? Any messages you want to send out there to the Deuces Wild crowd?
No, the Deuces Wild crowd. I was really enjoying looking at y'all's first vehicles. I was laughing my ass off when people were putting capris and minivans and all that shit up there. I was loving life. That was funny as hell.
That's so good, man. I
Hey,
mean,
we're on for next week, and I got all my hunting crap in the garage, so I might be able to move some shit around. We might be able to take a few swings next week.
yeah, let's do it, dude. If you could pull that off, this
Yeah,
is the time to do it, right?
yeah, yeah. Let's try it next week. We'll try to do that and get a few swings in, and you know, kind of show people what we're talking about. How to stay through the path and how to
Yeah.
go to right, and keep your hands inside of it and all that craziness.
I want to see the barrel presentation.
Barrel presentation. That's what I'm going
Oh
to work
fuck.
on.
I actually of all the new school things that are said, I like that. I do
Yeah, I
seriously.
mean, you
You're
you
presenting the
actually,
barrel of the pitcher.
yeah, you're actually that kind of half-ass makes sense. But all the rest of the stupid shit that they're telling me, oh god, take it, shove it up your ass.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. All right, Thrill. Hey, have a great week. We're back on next week. If you're in the garage, all the better. And everyone else have a
I'll have it
fantastic week
all
as
set
well.
up. I'll move some crap around. I got to move Trey's car so we don't hit the 2001 Buick LeSabre. I got to move that around.
Hey, could we get a tour of the Buick LeSabre next week? Let's roll through that thing. Tell
A
Trey we got to get it
tour.
clean.
A tour. Ah,
Yeah, Buick LeSabre 2001.
there you go. There you go.
All right, dude. Send my love to the fam.
Right back at you. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everybody. And as usual,
See ya!